Hello friends, Recall Recapped here. So today I am going to explain a science fiction horror film called Child's Play, Chunky Doll. So know the concept of the movie, turn in the notification and don't forget to like, and stay tuned. It is the second part of movie, I already explained the first one. So go and watch out. When we'll learn that 2 years have gone since Chucky's death. His burnt head was left, but the rest of his body was destroyed, which we saw in the first part. His head is reassembled at a toy company. Because, according to Andy and his mother, Chucky was responsible for all of the murders in the previous part. As a result of this, these dolls have received negative publicity, which has impacted their sales. Because the company's CEO must prove that these dolls are error-free. We also know that Andy's mother was committed to a psychiatric hospital and that no one believed Chucky's story. Andy is staying in a hostel as well. The company's owner arrives at the factory where the dolls were made. The technician is thrown at a distance and dies as a result of an electric shock while he tries to adjust his eyes. They throw the Chucky doll, but still, it comes alive again after this incident. Chucky doll's goal was to get to Andy as soon as possible. In addition, he needed to transfer his soul into his body. Andy, on the other hand, is shown as someone who hasn't forgotten anything about Chucky. His caretaker gives him to a couple to change his surroundings. When Andy arrives, he is greeted by Kyle, their daughter. That lady sends Andy inside a room, and when Andy unlocks a cupboard door, a good guy doll falls, terrifying Andy. The couple tries to persuade him that this is only a doll. The doll is thrown by the lady. On the other hand, Chucky doll appears to have known Andy's address through contact. When Chucky arrives at Andy's residence, he encounters the good guy toy that the lady has thrown. Chucky breaks the doll and hides it in the garden. He was doing it to take his place. Chucky pays them a visit. Andy examines the doll, and to satisfy his doubts, he checks his battery. He considers this to be a normal doll, and he keeps it with him. Chucky ties Andy's hands and feet while he sleeps. Andy wakes up, and he tells him that he would not leave him this time, and he begins his magic. Kyle enters the room and opens his hands. Andy informs him that Chucky has chased him. They all come to him, but no one believes him when he tells them about Chucky. Now the lady's husband has thrown Chucky into a basement, his nose has begun to bleed. Chucky realizes that his body is transforming back into a human once more. When Andy goes to school the next day, Chucky follows him and destroys his homework. His teacher punishes him by putting him in a room after the class. Andy, on the other hand, flees, and when his teacher arrives to check on him, Chucky murders her. Andy informs the lady and her husband, who brought him home, that Chucky has followed him once more. But no one believes him, and Andy realizes that he must kill Chucky himself. He gets to the basement by taking the knife where Chucky was imprisoned. Chucky, on the other hand, attacks Andy brutally. As to hear this, the lady's husband reaches out as well. Chucky throws him down the stairwell, and he dies as a result. Lady also appears and blames Andy for being responsible for her husband's death. Andy is asked to leave by her. Andy was later returned to the hostel. Kyle must stay away from Chucky, he warns. Kyle swings later, and her foot becomes entangled with the foot of that old doll. She lifts her foot out and realizes Andy was correct. When she walks upstairs to inform her mother Chucky has already killed her mother later, he attacks Kyle and asks her to come with him to Andy's hostel. Kyle attempts to kill him on the way, but he is unharmed. He reaches out to Kyle and forces her to drive him to the hostel. As soon as he gets there, he starts ringing alarms. Kyle is scolded by the hostel warden, and Chucky attacks and murders her. He drags Andy behind him and drives into a paper truck. Kyle pursues the truck and passes it. Chucky, on the other hand, takes Andy to a toy company that makes dolls. Kyle also arrives, but she is unable to locate Andy and Chucky. Chucky knocks him out and begins his magic. There was no one around to distract him this time. Andy's eyes immediately open. Chucky was still stuck inside that doll's body, and his magic remained ineffective. Chucky now recognizes that he will spend the rest of his life in this doll's body. Kyle arrives as well and chases after Andy. They come across a hallway. Chucky joins them, but they seal the door. Chucky's hand got stuck in the door, so he pulled his hand away from his body. He secures the knife in his grip. A worker is assigned to the location to fix a machine. Chucky stabs him with a knife and then puts him in a machine to kill him. Kyle and Andy, on the other hand, are trying to kill Chucky. Andy places him in a tub and sets a plastic melting valve on him. Chucky's body melts down. Kyle places a gas pipe in Chucky's mouth as his body melts. Chucky dies as a result of his mouth filling up and erupting. Andy and Kyle are freed from the factory. And second part of the film comes to an end here.